That's not cool to say about blind kids, Chris. Anyway, hey, welcome back to another episode of Around Comics. I am Brian Salazar. With me, as always, Chris, I Hate Blind Kids Niesman, and we have a great show.
Why should they get free canes?
We have a great...
Pull yourself up by your blind little bootstraps.
See, I don't know. I can't control this guy, folks. I don't know what to do with him. It's horrible. Hey, look, Tom's here already at the beginning of the show.
I was gonna salute our fallen brother. I have a true Wisconsin old fashioned here.
Oh, there you go.
For Tom.
And in a giant glass.
And me, Tom, I've coveted your Tom Collins every week. So I made myself
there you go.
A Tom Collins today, and I have a little squid man.
Oh, nice.
Look at that, huh? But mine's vodka, not gin. I'm not a gin drinker. But these are delicious. I have to say.
Yeah, they're a summer drink, but you can have them in winter.
Yeah, it's like drinking porter. It's like drinking porters in the summer. I love a good porter in the summer. I'm
wearing a sweater, and like wool socks, but that's okay.
And Tom, I went full on Scotty for you tonight.
Yeah. He's got the flannel.
My flannel insulate. Oh, I do have. I've got my. I do have my Bears. My Bears.
You're not casually drunk driving, so that's.
So I got
full Wisconsin.
Most Wisconsin text ever tonight. So this is from one of my buddies up here, and he says, "What does your Sunday post Packers game look like? Thinking about maybe a flood at the curling club."
Oh, there you go.
What's a flood? What is that?
You have to reset the ice every 6 to 8 weeks by putting about 500 gallons of water on it to just kind of reset it and then scrape it out. So yeah,
gotcha.
It is a curling.
A little inside curling.
Inside curling. There you go.
As a true Bears fan, I just responded back, said, "Fuck, I'll do it during the Packers game."
Oh man! I wish I was able to.
You wish?
No. I honestly wish I could watch football. I wish I loved football enough to just watch other teams.
Yeah.
But I can't. I don't love football enough to do that. Or I wish that I had like your ability, Chris, to just get rid of teams and root for other teams.
Just completely
shut them. Done with you.
Done with you. Yes. I don't know if I had another football team. I don't know what it would be.
I'd put like a 2-decade mark. It's like if you haven't done shit for me in like 2 decades. I reserve the right to move to another city and root for a basketball team that doesn't.
2 decades? That's short time in it in Chicago. Come on, man.
What?
You got to go 100 years to have before you get to
I married someone who was a White Sox fan.
Hey, White Sox are going to have the best rotation in baseball, my friend, and they just picked up a closer. Now, if their manager doesn't get a DUI or die, we should be okay.
How he puts the roster together. Hey, at least he's not the Mets GM.
Whoa, yeah, this is true. Could be worse. Could always be worse.
Cubs. Yeah.
I'm still hoping the White Sox somehow figure out how to sign Trevor Bauer, and then it's just like, forget it. We have the best starting 4 in baseball at that point, and a lights out closer
around baseball. But if you were ever looking for a 1-year pillow contract for a stud player, this might be the year.
I just don't see Reinsdorf paying him $35 million.
Paying $35 million for 1 year.
For 1 year. Do you think he would do that though? I don't know if he'd be interested in a 1 year.
Yeah.
Maybe win a World Series.
He'd be stupid to turn it down this year.
This is true. Neil Johnson on the YouTube says his team is so bad they lost their own name.
He must be a Washington football team.
He must be a Washington.
Oh no, Indians fan.
Indians. The Cleveland baseball team.
Yeah.
What should those teams rename themselves?
What be the Cleveland
Steamers.
Tomays.
Tome's. Everybody likes Jim Tomei.
Tomei.
Nobody can get bad at Jim Tomei.
Yeah.
Washington's uniforms are way better now with the numbers on the helmet rather than the
Indian logo.
I think that they should just keep football team as it's the Washington football team.
Why not?
Yeah.
Who cares? Right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're not going to
sell. You're going to make it
something
something like you're going to just make up like Washington Muskrats or like some shit. Just call it football team, whatever.
I think they should be the Cleveland Burning.
The numbers
River.
are cool on the helmet.
The Cleveland Untouchables.
The Untouchables. Oh, that's right. Elliot Ness is from there. Superman's from there.
The Cleveland Supermen.
Bendises.
The Cleveland Kryptonites. I like it.
The Cleveland Jews. Is that bad? No, that won't work. All right.
No, I actually drove past the Siegel House in Cleveland. Marta, we were on a tight schedule, so Marta was like, "No, you can't go in." But I actually have a T-shirt that says Cleveland with Superman on it, so they're aware of it there. American Wonder P-Car was a Clevelander.
Harvey P-Car.
Yeah.
The P-Cars, the Cleveland P-Cars.
Cleveland P-Car.
The Cleveland Curmudgeons.
Are you is it a Clevelander?
A Clevelandite? Cleveland Cleavers. I don't know. Who gives a shit? It's fucking Cleveland.
Yeah.
So hi guys, how you doing? It's that whole intro. That was a longer intro than WandaVision.
Hey, we could talk about wine for the next 8.5 minutes. Or sorry, that's a no.
Oh,
never mind.
Oh.
Sorry.
So I mentioned WandaVision. Quick plug for the Patreon. Sal and I did we're not going to talk about WandaVision tonight, most likely, but you can check out our hour-long chat about WandaVision on the old Patreon. I had fun. That was a hoot.
I had much fun as well. Tom, we didn't invite you to the WandaVision thing.
That's all right. No.
Yeah, well, that's what we figured. We figured you wouldn't be that interested, so we didn't bother.
I'll be honest. I tried to watch the first episode, and this is not a critique of the first episode. It's more of a critique of like what a tired father I am. I fell asleep, just like it's like I knew as soon as I started it, I'm like, I'm starting this way too late. Unless this is like the greatest thing in the world, I'm gonna definitely 1,000%. Like I know I'm gonna fall. Yeah,
well, for that.
And I was like,
what's going to happen? So Sal and I have decided that we're going to do this ACTV review show, and WandaVision is just the first show that we're doing. Right now, it's great because we both agree that we like the show, and we really had a lot to discuss.
What's going to happen when you are like, I don't like this?
We're going to get into a show that one of us likes and one of us doesn't.
Well, Chris put out there to the patrons, it's like, hey, you guys pay for this, if you can maybe pick the next show, maybe it's and I'm like, no, that's not a good idea because those assholes are going to pick
Below Deck Mediterranean.
Yeah,
look at their taste in entertainment. No.
Hey, speaking of the patrons, as Chris said, please, if you want bonus content from all of us, we're putting out lots of good stuff on the Patreon page. It's patreon.com/aroundcomics. I do want to give a quick shout out to all the patrons that have signed up recently. In fact, I kind of legally have to. So I'm going to do that right now at the top of the show. I'm not going to wait because last week I forgot all about it. So thank you, Mark V, Cody, David B, Mark M, Zach K, Neil M, Kevin D, Chris N, and Dave W. Thank you all patrons for supporting Around Comics, and we hope you guys are enjoying the stuff we're putting out as much as we're enjoying doing it, because I'll be honest, I'm having a blast so far. I didn't think I would enjoy like doing the Future Stacks thing, but I'm actually having a fun time doing that. every week so far. So I'm really glad, and the ACTV, and I'm looking forward to some Tom verses maybe, and who knows what else we'll come up with.
Had a Dave Wachter interview this week.
You did have a Dave Wachter interview, and you can preview that on the regular feed at aroundcomics.com. You can find it on our Libsyn page. You can find it on our podcast feed. There's a 10-minute preview of the entire interview, and then if you'd like to get the entire 30-minute interview with Dave Wachter, who has a book coming out today,
we'll be talking about that, for sure, on the next episode.
You can join Patreon and then get the rest of the interview, and that's kind of how Chris is going to operate those one-on-one deep diving. I think you should make him eat like hot peppers.
It's not a deep dive. It's 30 minutes, man. It's 30 minutes with.
It's a surface level dive.
It's very
shallow,
superficial.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
It works perfectly for me.
It's perfect for comics.
Controls my anger.
Chris does not have to think much about it. He doesn't have to get personal with these people. He barely knows their name.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
We got some good friends, good old friends of the show coming up, and some new friends. Speaking of your future stacks, I think you talked about this book.
I did.
Did you read it?
I did.
We're talking about Serial by Terry Moore. Anything Terry Moore is going to be an insta buy for me, because he draws pretty.
Pretty.
Purdy. That's very purdy of you, Terry. Yeah, I read it. I liked the story more than I liked the art, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's Terry Moore art.
It's Terry Moore art. It's always an interesting thing, like when do we give a pass to independent comic book creators, or like guys that write and draw their own stuff to some degree? Because
it's all the time.
Right? Is that sort of how it works? All right, never mind then. That's the end of my
different stuff in this than I had seen before. With the dream sequence.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it's a lot to fucking do.
It's a lot to do. Right and draw. It's hard.
You're right, it is. And it's not that it's bad art, it's just it's very, there's something about the way that he frames a story. Like, it's very one-dimensional, or not one-dimensional. It's very, I don't know how to explain it exactly. The framing, his sequences that he picks for like how to display a page are very simplistic sometimes.
Simplistic, and I was thinking about that, but and how sparse his work is. Because Echo was the same, Rachel Rising.
I really liked Echo, by the way.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Echo is awesome. I mean, he very much produces these like a TV or a movie thriller. He'll go sometimes 6, 7, 8 pages without a single line of dialogue, and you can be like, well, maybe he just hates to letter. But he's very cinematic, and you can see that it's like, yeah, you could do that in film or TV, where there could be a huge amount of time of storytelling without any dialogue or without any necessary narration, and he does that in his comics. And most of this book this first issue is wordless, and it's still really good storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the story. The concept of it, I didn't know really what it was going into it at all. But I really liked where it ended up, because it's a little weirder than I thought it was going to be. And just it kind of out of left field. I didn't expect it, kind of going into it. But it was good.
I do get a little lost, and I wanted to clarify with you. So this is obviously about a serial killer who is kind of a
do-gooder, kind of a Dexter.
It's kind of a Dexter. She's a kind killer of what appears to be like sexual predator men.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the same person that is sleeping in the VW van, right? That is a different character. So like the character at the end is not the character at the beginning. This is a different character who is possibly going to be wrapped up in this murder investigation. Is that what you got out of it?
No, that's not what I got out of it.
Because
I thought
the serial killer who comes home and takes off the brunette wig and her
right.
makeup and parks her car, and then it goes to this scene out by a lake with this VW van. That's not what they were in at the beginning, was it?
No, she was on a motorcycle in the beginning. I actually thought that it was possibly the same. I thought it was a different period of time.
Okay, so it's kind of like a
but I'm not sure because it's not clear on that, but it almost felt like it was a flashback of the same. That's what but I don't know. It's hard to say honestly because it's not spelled out either
they
way.
don't spell it out. So it's
who knows?
Who knows?
Terry Moore does. Probably. We can find out.
But yeah, it's I'm definitely not.
He's listening and he's like, "What the fuck? You guys don't understand what's going on."
Bunch of idiots.
Idiots.
Yeah.
And listen to idiots who can't figure out this simple story.
Yeah. I'm down.
Too goddamn era.
Yeah.
It did intrigue me enough that I want to read the next issue for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
But I'm really interested.
I've liked the last two works have been, I think, dare I say, I've enjoyed them more than Strangers in Paradise.
Yeah, I tried to read Strangers in Paradise, and I know that it has a following.
Yep.
But I don't find it all that interesting, to be honest.
I thought Echo and Rachel Rising were awesome.
I liked Rachel Rising a lot. I liked Echo as well. Yeah. So, everybody's going to have a different kind of thing. But Tom, you mentioned a book you're reading or you read over the weekend that I'm interested in. I took a look at it. I haven't read it, but I really am interested.
It's one I talked about like 2-3 months ago.
Oh. Mountainhead. Yeah. I finally read the
big impact on you.
Yeah. I read the trade and it was awesome. It was great. It's written by John Lees and art by Ryan Lee. And I won't belabor the plot. It starts off with like a kid and his dad, and the dad's like a crazy conspiracy theory dude who's on the run. And then you find out that that's not really his son and that he kidnapped him from a family. And then they bring the kid back to the family in this town, but the town is weird. And it's like at first I about like halfway through it, the second issue, I was like, I don't think I like this. And then by that, it was so like almost schizophrenic and like it's this thing and then it's this thing and then it's that.
Right.
And it's like
and it's dark.
It's like dark. And I was like, what is this? I can't quite figure out what the story is supposed to be. And it's a really great mix of the good stuff about David Lynch, where like he's very good at like how do you start to portray like things as being creepy that aren't outwardly creepy, like how do you like make like an idyllic sort of like like this is like a Norman Rockwell painting town, like you can kind of hint to the fact that things are creepy in it, but also if you took some of that and mixed it with John Carpenter's The Thing, you would have what this comic is, like the sort of like very gruesome like body horror type stuff of The Thing mixed with like sort of like a creepy Lynchian, like approach to like how do you just make characters weird and like
fucking
like untrustable and like so yeah, I mean by the third issue I was like, oh, I love this is great. Like it took me a little while to like figure out what it was exactly and what
And I love
kind
the
of
art.
what to expect.
The
Yeah,
art.
the art's awesome because it's incredibly for a horror comic, it's a very different style than you would expect like a horror comic to have. Like it has almost a more not cartoonish, but like a more like almost like a comedy vibe to how the characters are drawn. Like it almost feels
incredibly expressive.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not a impressionist type.
Yeah, so it's like it's drawn in a way that would make you think it's like maybe a little funny or like a little like black humor to it, but it's not really got any of that. It's very creepy and very scary. And when the sort of horror bits or the monstrosity parts come out, it's really intense. The art is so detailed, and there's so many like both really gruesome moments, but also like very creepy moments that they managed to like capture. And it moves. I think part of my reluctance at first is it felt almost a little bit like a TV pitch in a comic, and I'm always a little resistant to that. Where I'm like, okay, it's like this is somebody's elevator pitch for something. But then once it starts making so many twists and turns, it's like this isn't like good luck whoever if this is a TV show to do all this. Because
I mean, it is a comic.
It's a comic, and it like goes through a lot of twists and turns very quickly, and like just a wide range of like emotion to it. And then once I sort of like let go of my preconceptions of like what I thought it was going to be, I was like, I enjoyed this quite a bit, and it's great. So I read the first trade through Hoopla because I remember Chris had mentioned it, so I gave it a quick peruse. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think for anyone that's probably ever lived in a mountain town, it probably resonates pretty hard. It kind of had that like you were saying, the David Lynch thing. It was like a Northern Exposure gone bad.
Yeah, it's like, things are a little strange here, and like a little, the art does such a great job of both like the gruesome elements, but also just like creepy, right? And the difference between those two things, that you don't always have to be gruesome to be creepy. But yeah, it's pretty cool, a pretty interesting book.
His kidnapper dad, actually a pretty neat character in that first issue.
Yeah, I mean, the book is so crazy, and like how quickly it turns from one thing to another, like sort of seamlessly, like foreshadowing it at parts where it's like, actually, no, it's not just. At first, you're like, it's a story about this kid who's been raised by like a conspiracy theorist. It's like, actually, no, it is partly that, but it's also this, and then actually, it's also like a horror. Just a straight up like monster horror story. Also, it's got like some weird Lynchian stuff and some, like Lovecraftian.
And any of those things would have been good for a full story.
Yeah, and it's all kind of
flipping it on you.
Yeah, and flipping it so quickly and so fast that it's like, oh, whoa, what is this? Yeah, so it was great. I ended up just reading it the whole way through in one sitting, which is very hard for me to do.
That is high praise.
It's high praise that I had to ignore the pleas of my children.
Daddy,
I think that the art reminds me a little bit of the gentleman who does Lock and Key. I can't think of his name.
I was gonna say there's a little bit of Gabriel Rodriguez in there, but it's a heavier, brushier line than Rodriguez.
Yeah, I think it's more the character designs, how it the caricatures. None of these people, while they look.
Seriously, was going to say there's a lot of Gabriel Rodriguez. But if I say that, Sal's going to think I'm stupid.
No, I absolutely think that's true. Yeah, no, for sure. That there, and it is, and I always felt that way about his art in Lock and Key. It's like this is an odd style for a horror comic book. It doesn't quite seem like it would work, but it does end up working.
Yeah, it's so perfect.
Speaking of weird body dysmorphia, like horror shit, I I recently rewatched Scanners.
Oh wow.
And, man, I'll tell you what. What's his name? I can't think of the director of that now. Cronenberg. Say what you will, whether you like his movies or not, but man, that movie for the first 15 minutes of it, like it makes me nauseous. Like, and not in a way because it's doing anything gross, like not because of any kind of like gross special effects or anything. Just
unsettling. Yeah.
It is so unsettling. Everything in that movie, every actor that he cast, everything in that is just so unsettling. It makes me like nervous and nauseous to watch. And it's just like, wow, he really has an ability to create that, that atmosphere so well in his films. It's just, I just wanted to, I don't know. I thought of that when you were talking about The Thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like it does have a little bit of that, and like how you think about like The Thing and like how different from a Cronenberg movie's got that vibe to like everything to it. It's just like from beginning to end, it's like
unsettling.
It's unsettling. Something like is unsettling is happening all the time. You can feel it, like this, like something not great is happening right now. Where, you look at sort of like John Carpenter's The Thing and just like the approach to how gruesome the creature is and how like inventive, like the visual look of it, and how like he uses that like uncertainty of like what it's gonna look like, where is it, who is it, to like tell that version of the story.
I'm a big John Carpenter fan, and it occurred to me like over this last Halloween, I watched a bunch of John Carpenter movies, and I realized like the one thing that he does in all of his movies really well is giving you a feeling of isolation. Like every movie he makes, it's like if you look at like Halloween, They Live, The Thing, any of those movies, they're all like, even like They Live
on an island.
Yeah, those characters he could be in the middle of a city, but he's alone and he's isolated, and no one else is going through what he's going through, and it's like I always thought one of the most fascinating things about Halloween, the movie Halloween, was it's like you're in a suburban town with a bunch of people running around, and yet Laurie is alone. Like she cannot find anyone to help her. This maniac is chasing her. And even in broad daylight, like when Michael shows up in broad daylight, like it's this weird thing of like, and I don't know if you guys have ever
around.
There's no help around, but I remember that feeling like as a kid when I was like 12, 13 years old, of like a fall afternoon, and you'd find yourself maybe somewhere where they're just for a few minutes, there's no one around. You're in the woods or you're somewhere, and there's just like you're alone, and he captures that so well in like all of his films. He is, I don't know, just something I noticed. I don't know why.
He captures the eeriness of that.
Yeah.
If someone were to kill me right now, no one would know.
Yeah. And you think about it, it's like that's got to be for almost everyone who gets murdered, like that has to be that feeling. At some point, that's what you know what I mean? Like you're alone, no one can help you, and it's like, God, that's got to be terrifying for him to be able to just like
tap into
that in his films. It's like, he does that really well. But I guess that's why he's a legend.
That's why Halloween spawned so many movies.
Yeah. Right.
So many horror movies. Yeah. It's like, oh, what is this?
Well, I read another one of my Future Stack picks from last week that I really enjoyed was a book called Space Bastards. This is from Humanoids. It's written by Eric Peterson and Joe Aubrey with art by Derek Robertson. Colors
really?
by
Is it new?
It's new. It just came out.
Is that why the fourth issue of Hellblazer hasn't come out yet?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Maybe. But this is Humanoids Mark Waid's the publisher of Humanoids. Like this is the thing that he kind of started, and
Really?
this is he's the publisher of this company. It's a new comic book company. I think there's some money behind it. I'm not sure, but
Not Humanoids.
it's Humanoids. Yes, it is Humanoids. It's that, but it's a comic book publisher, Humanoids. So I'm not sure what the relationship or how that's
Like
different.
Humanoids?
Yes, that Humanoids.
Really?
So right, yes. So, but now they're publishing like individual comics, and I think they're making maybe a bigger push in the U.S. I don't know. I don't know the
They're not
story.
just doing Jodorowsky and Mobius
Right.
anymore.
No, I think they're trying to branch out from just that.
Just that.
The catalog was getting thin.
Yeah, but I really liked this book. It was really fun. It was a perfect book for Derek Robertson.
Okay.
Basically, the idea behind it is it's in the future, but in a crazy like intergalactic universe where you can travel to different worlds and that kind of thing. And the postal service is basically run by mercenaries, or at least they work for the postal service. And so the idea is if you need something delivered somewhere, you hire this company, and they basically put out a dollar amount on it, but any other postal worker can come and murder you and take it and get the fee, basically, or anyone else can too. And the more that it changes hands, the more you end up having to pay. So it's a weird, like, it's some sort of like, yeah. And you have this guy who basically is kind of just a turd, guy that hates his job, working at like a normal company, and he ends up getting fired, and he starts running out of money. He doesn't know what to do, and he sees this ad for this company that does this stuff, and he goes and signs up, and it's run out of a casino, like an Indian reservation casino, and he gets put in this room, and they kind of give him the whole spiel by the Postmaster General Roy Sharpton. And at the end of it, like, there's a whole room of people that are there, and by the end of it, he's the only one left, so they hire him because it's incredibly dangerous. It's super, like, they tell him from the, like, it's incredibly dangerous. The chances are you're going to die, but if you don't die, you're going to make a shit ton of money. So they then put him with this alien dude who's like a veteran for his first day, this guy named Manicorns, who looks like a manicorn. He has a horn and he's a big badass fucking, like kind of a Lobo-esque kind of character. Been doing this for a long time, fucking loves it. Like, he can't get enough of it. And so it's just this crazy story of him sort of trying to show this kid the ropes, and the kid, trying not to die. And it really harkens back to sort of like a Lobo, that 80s sort of just wacky, over the top violence. There's definitely a little bit of social commentary, some sarcasm, that kind of stuff in it.
Space motorcycle, a space hog.
He has a spaceship that the front of it is a giant manticore skull.
Of course it is.
Chrome. It's a giant chrome manticore skull.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course. Perfect.
Yeah, of course. And but it was really fun. It was really an awesome issue. I really enjoyed it a lot, and it's perfect for Derek Robertson. So I think it did pretty well. It seemingly, on the internet, it seemed like they had done pretty well with it, the initial issue.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really good. Like I enjoyed it a lot. It's just like a fun, silly. I mean, like I said, it's classic Derek Robertson. Actually, I think it's some of his best work. Honestly, I think it's.
I don't know the stuff he's doing on that DC Black Label Hellblazer series.
Agreed.
So good.
Agreed.
So good.
Agreed. This is right up there with that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he with this year he kind of went next level for me. I've always liked his art, but like this year I'm just like, no, I mean he's like really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree with you 100%. I've always liked his work, but I never thought he wasn't the kind of artist where it was like, oh, I'm gonna buy the book just for him.
Automatic buy. Yeah.
Right. He was never that. Now he is kind of becoming that guy, especially when I know it's something that fits him like this. You know, I remember back years ago when I went to the there was a comic book convention in Michigan, the Cherry Capital Con.
Yes.
And I had the chance to interview Steve Dillon, but also I can't think of the guy's name. He used to write Deadpool. Shit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he wrote Deadpool and a few other characters. And one of the things it wasn't a question, but it was something I said was like, the two of you both have a career of sort of writing and working with bastards. Like the characters are, and I remember Steve said to me, he's like, well, the bastards are just more fun, aren't they? And I was like, yeah, they fucking are, you know. And that's what this is. This is a perfectly named book, Space Bastards. And Derek Robertson is that kind of guy too. Like he fits a bastard book. Like he fits it really well. So.
I liked Happy that he did with Grant Morrison.
I'm not sure if I ever actually read Happy or not. I don't know.
Happy's a fun book about a bastard. And did you see the TV show?
I watched half a season of it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched all of it. It's
goofy.
But I met him out at the Morrison Con because he and Grant were publishing that, and the whole Morrison Con thing happened. And not a nicer guy will you meet. I mean, we sat around and BS'd for better part of a night. And that's the nice thing is that, you know, the creators that you love their work, whenever you meet them in person, and they're not just that awesome, they're even better. Derek Robertson in person is just fantastic.
It's funny because
I
had met him before. I had met him. I think it might have actually been at that same convention, and he was sitting next to me.
Yeah,
like the entire convention, and I was too nervous because I was such a Boys fan.
Oh, yeah.
I was a little too nervous to really. I talked to him a little bit, but I never actually like. And it was weird because like I hung out with Steve that weekend. I hung out with everybody that was at that convention and drank and everything. And for whatever reason, I just kept my distance from Derek Robertson. I was such a it's like I don't want to.
Don't get too close.
Yeah. but Space Bastards.
He did a nice Booster Gold sketch for me. It's on the wall.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
To match Kevin McGuire's Blue Beetle.
All right, are we done name dropping now? All the great.
Just convention sketches. That's not name dropping.
Oh, all right. But yeah, Space Bastards was awesome. So if you haven't picked it up, this is the kind of stuff. These are the picks that I make on Future Stacks. Even though I don't know it's going to be good, I knew it was going to be good.
You're like one of those TV bookies.
Exactly.
It's like,
as a comics prophet.
Yeah, it's like, let me tell you the best bet.
Exactly. You got to call my 1-800 number. I'm going to give you all the picks of the week.
Yeah.
Sal's picks of the week.
This is my lock, my guarantee Samsonite lock.
Absolutely. 100% gold lock. This one is it. This book will be a bestseller.
Guarantees though.
Well, I like I said, I always thought Future Stacks was kind of silly. I mean, when we did it back in the day. But
yeah.
I honestly kind of think like the idea of like somebody going through the comics of the week and picking out some and saying, hey, be on the lookout for this. I kind of like it actually because it's like, well, going to the comic book shop, it's like I don't want to miss something that maybe it's not like you have to buy it, but maybe you pick it up off the shelf. Yeah. And otherwise
you don't even know it exists. Yeah.
That's what exactly. So I don't know. I'm enjoying doing that. So yeah, make sure you do to check out my picks of the week.
But we're
A
not.
lot.
John Armour said that on YouTube. His comment was Derek Robertson, 2021 Young Gun. Yeah, he's
Yep.
like, how old is Derek Robertson?
25-year veteran of the
Yeah.
industry. What was the one that Marvel put out? It's been like probably 10 years. It was like Arthur Soydum, Young Gun or something. It was
Well,
ridiculous.
I remember. I remember it was this was early on when we were first doing the show, and I brought up an artist that I was not familiar with, and I was like, this is a really hot young artist or something, and it was Stuart Immonen. and I remember like somebody tweeted it to him or something, and they're like, well, he's like, I've been in the industry for 10 years, so I'm not really
Young Gun.
Hey, by Marvel standards, he wasn't even hatched yet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
He just getting his ears wet.
That's funny.
Marvel still do the Young Guns thing? Please hope not.
I think kind of, yeah. I mean, I know I've seen one in the last 5 years or something, I think.
Okay. Yeah. What it ended up being was like, what country Cebulski had gone to vacation in.
Yeah, well, hey man, you got to promote. Everybody bitches because they say Marvel and DC don't promote their creators. Well, I mean,
Sure they do. Of course they do.
Yeah, sometimes that means you got to be a 40-year-old Young Gun.
Sometimes, hey man.
Yeah,
I just
man.
Hey, Dave Wachter is going to be the next Young Gun.
He's the Young Gun in Marvel this year. That's right.
16 years in the making.
I just saw I saw a tweet. I don't remember who it was, and I have no idea what they're doing at Marvel, but they were like, hey, don't ever give up on your dream. I just turned 48 and I just got my first job at Marvel. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. That's, hey man, you're never, What's that? Was it, what did you say? I didn't hear you.
Ron Richards.
Was it? Maybe it was Ron Richards. I don't think Ron's not 48. Ron. Is he still working for Marvel? Is Ron still?
He is, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't get taken out by the cancel culture.
Congrats to him, man. He's got kids now and he's married.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Married and kids. He's like Mr. Responsibility. Yeah.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
Poor bastard. Why would he want to go do that to himself?
Yeah. Like I think Connor's the last confirmed bachelor out of that group.
Well, Josh is like 70. I mean, Jesus.
Oh yeah, he is like yelling at kids on his front porch. He's yelling at Trump fans on his front porch.
He's definitely doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's doing that on Instagram. He's yelling at Trump fans that are in a bar.
Facebook, I think. He's like, I can't take it anymore. We got to start our internet beef up with them again.
I don't think there's what's the,
Yeah. Your kid's ugly.
No, you can't talk about a man's kids. Come on, that's not right.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Damn,
Chris,
yeah.
You start the program with making fun of blind kids, and now this. I know you don't.
What if someone talked bad about your dogs, Chris?
Oh, and then
I would set my dogs on them.
And your dogs are only going to live 15 years. They're only like a quarter of a human.
Georgia's like almost 16 now. She's got 3 legs and she doesn't move around to it. You got to carry her up and down the stairs, but she'll still.
Yeah, but when she's gone, you're just going to go buy another one. You're not.
No, I'm going to be a mess. It's gonna be tough. So now we love the iFanboy guys. It's I miss those guys. Ready to travel and see them at conventions again.
I miss everyone.
They'll never. Conventions are done. Never gonna have them again.
Never.
All those people in one place. Disgusting. God Christ! Think about it. It's so gross.
I went to
before COVID.
Ugh.
I went to. You're gonna laugh at this. I went to there's a small like concert venue by me, and they have bands in all the time and stuff, and they had been closed for a long time, and they just got the kind of okay to open, and they had like tables. You had to buy a table of 4, so it was limited seating and that kind of thing. And it was for a Beatles tribute band and a Doors tribute band. And the Beatles tribute band was excellent. They were called American English, and they were freakishly good. Like, looked like them, sounded unbelievably like them. And it was like, you know, if John sang that song, John sang that song. If Paul sang that song, and like to a T. But it was really good. But I'm sitting there after a while, and it kind of started getting a little more crowded than I felt comfortable. And I'm like, I don't know if I can ever go back to like being in a big crowd of people again. That is a weird feeling.
Is it the weirdest thing for you to watch TV in scenes that are like, you know, where like someone's like sharing food or like hugging someone, and you're like,
I don't know. I mean, it's not that weird to me, but
yeah. I mean, it's just this initial reaction. You're like, oh no, this was like done before then, or
well, I have people.
We will get back to doing things like want to have a fry off my plate, you know, kind of thing.
I have people try to strangle me on a weekly basis. So
I was picking up food the other day, and my hand accidentally brushed up against the hand of the guy that was handing me the food, and I think that was like the first human I had touched outside of like my family in like a year. It was very unsettling. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, somebody walked past me at work
Like,
and tapped me on the back and fucking freaks me out.
Don't fucking touch me.
I haven't. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably a little less careful than you guys are.
Well, you've already.
I have a harder time. I just have a hard time like with it. I forget.
You've got the antibody now.
For now, yeah. I don't know how long it lasts, but yeah, I definitely. It is weird now because I'm almost to the point where I don't think about it at all. And so, like, I walk into a store and go, "Oh, I forgot my, I got to put my mask on real quick," and that kind of thing. Because I'm just like,
don't be that guy. Because I yell at that guy.
Well, you can yell at me. Go ahead.
Fuck
off. What are you gonna? Go ahead.
The gentle touch of a delivery man. His hand brushing up against mine. But think about a convention with all those people like breathing.
I didn't like conventions before.
They were gross beforehand. Yeah.
People got sick at them all the time.
Right?
All the disgusting humans.
I think people should be forced to wear face masks at conventions going forward, like forever.
Yeah.
Like face shields, and especially.
It's great. I love it in the winter. I should just wear a mask all day. Like, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like,
nice and warm.
Nice and warm. But yeah, I think of conventions with all this just people just like shaking hands and just breathing on each other. Like, oh my God.
Just standing in line for hours at a time.
Yeah, just sweating
on each other.
Oh God. Christ, it's disgusting.
Or concerts. You know what I mean? Like, think about concerts. Like festivals and stuff like that. Like I don't know.
Stand up next to people. No.
In the summer, and you're just pouring sweat and fucking drinking booze, and who knows what the hell's flying in the air.
I would probably I'd do that now. I'd go to one and be like, oh yeah, that's right. This isn't that great.
This is terrible.
No, it's like,
let's come to Summerfest. It's delightful.
Get all sweaty. I mean, yeah, I was thinking of things that I was like, yeah, maybe this anymore. And like things where it's like we stopped doing it, it's like, oh God, why did we well, everyone's just on the CTA, just like without masks, just like breathing, like God Christ.
Why did I not how did I not use hand sanitizer every 30 seconds before?
Yeah. Dude, what
at the airport and you see some tourists from like Japan wearing masks, and you're like, oh, look at these weirdos.
What a weirdo.
And now it's like, yeah, definitely 1000% will be wearing them.
Well, dude, I've been on the CTA since this started. What's the L like in Chicago?
I haven't been on it.
Oh, you haven't been on the L?
No.
Yeah. That sounds freaky. Yeah, I mean, we are talking
Wear a
about
mask.
a train line where people would, openly pee and defecate on trains. So I mean, there was always a certain amount of bacterial infestation.
Oh yeah, I mean it was gross, but now I'm definitely wearing a mask on the CTA.
Yeah.
All right, enough of
All the time.
COVID talk.
Yeah, no more
Yeah.
COVID talk. I think we're getting close to the end of this one. So we can start kind of wrapping up.
Did you guys I was going to ask you actually, did you guys anyone read the Eternals that came out this last week? Issue number
bought
1.
it. I got
Not
2 pages into it twice. I'm probably going to try and read it tonight. It's wordy. It's a Kieran Gillen book, so it's wordy.
Yeah. I really like the art. Esad Ribic. I don't know if that's how you say his name. Really great art. It looks fantastic, but I read it twice as well, trying to understand this fucking dense goddamn thing. And I'm just like, why would you, if you're Marvel and you have a movie coming out of the Eternals soon, why would you relaunch the Eternals and make it like impenetrable? Wouldn't you want people, wouldn't you want it to be just a little more informative, a little bit more like, hey, this is what the Eternals is? I mean, I get like the idea of wanting to maybe, let Kieran Gillen do whatever he wants to do, but then maybe not put him on something that's relaunching with a movie this year. It just seems like such a weird.
Anyway, I don't know. So we talked about Serial earlier, and you know how I was just like, yeah, I mean, there's like 8 pages in the middle of that book that is completely dialogue free, and it's just visual storytelling. So sometimes I go to bed at night and I'll decide to read a comic. I may have picked up the Eternals and gotten 2 pages into it and flipped through it and said, yeah, that's too many fucking words, and grabbed Serial. And I was like, this is perfect before I go to sleep.
Yeah. I like I said, it just confuses me. Have the Eternals ever really worked? I mean, it was a failure when Kirby did it. So, you know what I mean? Like
Kirby property. So it's always gonna have life.
That's what I don't get though. It's like, why? I think I liked. Neil Gaiman did a Eternals series, didn't he? At one point,
yeah.
I think I liked that, but I think everybody takes it too fucking serious or something. What?
I always get them confused with the Inhumans.
There is that too. Well, you have the New Gods, the Inhumans, and the Eternals. They're all basically the same.
They're all Kirby. Yeah.
Nonsense. Kirby nonsense.
Outsider, crap.
I'm gonna make all the Kirby fans hate me, but it's just like this was. I know everybody was like, "Oh, Kirby's," fuck Stan Lee. Kirby was the genius behind Marvel. It's like, yeah, but look at what
character designs were awesome. That's why they last so long. He has great character designs.
He does. I mean, but his fucking storytelling is just kind of shit. I don't know any Kirby stuff that I really like that he wrote. Fucking Commandy. Ugh. Ugh.
I mean, it's all high concept shit.
I guess.
The thing to like about those is not, like I was saying, a couple months ago, like Kirby found the loophole of like, let's just make every 4th page the first page. Just switch scenes, like it's like a little bit like, oh gosh, this is a lot to get to read. Like, oh my god, what are we doing? In some ways, it's perfect if you only want to read 4 pages because you're like, oh, okay, that's it. You go
that's all I need.
That's all I need. With the Jimmy Olsen book from Fraction and Libre, where they kind of did that same thing, where it's like every 6 pages is like
brand new. Yeah.
It's like the
new
first
story,
new story, new section. All right, let's just splash page. Let's do it.
I'm okay with that actually at this point in my life because that's about all I can go anymore. 6 pages. I start to nod off like you were saying, Chris.
Like, what's happening? All right, here we go. We're back.
Words. I'm reading something else.
I didn't mean to.
American Vampire is about my sweet spot because he doesn't get too wordy with that. I'm like, yeah, I can read 20 pages of that, and that's
I don't mind if something's wordy if it has something to say. Like this was like wordy nonsense. Like it was just like I don't know. It was like wordy, like trying to be serious and then trying to also be clever.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just
Yeah.
It doesn't
can be that way sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know.
I
I was
like a lot of his work, but yeah, sometimes it can be a little ham-fisted. But
it looked really good though.
Yeah, really.
I just wish it was like a little more.
Loved his Thor.
I just want every comic book to basically be Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie. Like, I just want it to be that sort of straightforward. No, it doesn't need to be any deeper than that.
I mean, that was
a superhero book.
Not even the movie. I still love the Annihilation stuff. Were great comics.
Yeah, the Annihilations. Well, you had.
That's where the Guardians of the Galaxy came out of. Was the Annihilation stuff.
Well, that iteration.
Yeah,
they didn't invent them.
No, but I mean that's Starlin. But for the movie, I mean that was really the Abnett Lanning.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Right? Yeah,
it was the whole Star Lord and.
All right, I didn't mean to shit on Kieran Gillen. I just
no, we've been singing his praises for a long time since Phonograph.
I did mean to shit on Jack Kirby though.
Huh?
Fuck that guy. I did mean to shit on Jack. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I do want to shit on his son though. Jack Kirby's son that recently
said he doesn't like Nazis.
Well, it's just like, who gives a fuck? What if you didn't have anything to do with Captain America? Who cares what you fucking think? I'm serious. Like, who gives a shit? What the fuck?
Comic book fans give a shit.
Why? Because your dad drew great comics. You didn't fucking draw shit. I don't know. It's weird. I get it. I
think he was speaking on behalf of his dad to say that his dad doesn't like Nazis.
Really? Wow, that's a shocker. He fought in World War II.
I was like, we needed Kirby's son to say that Jack Kirby didn't like Nazis. The whole Jewish thing.
It's just funny to me because it's like, who are you talking to? Do you think you're gonna turn some people because you're Jack Kirby's son? You all of a sudden they're gonna be like, you know what?
You're right.
I used to like Nazis, but now I'm not so sure about those Nazis because
don't like Nazis. So
once you cross the line into you know what? The Nazis aren't so bad. It's sort of a line that you've crossed.
That's tough to come back from.
You don't usually cross back over. The other way is I actually, once I got to know them a little bit more, I'm not.
I kept something on the internet. If you're ever questioning if you're on the right side of history or not, just look to your left and right. If you see a Nazi, you're not on the right side of history.
It's I got to know them a little bit more, and I did not like what they were about.
A little intense. They're a little intense.
At first, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting." It's that's usually not the path for someone who gets involved in that. They're like,
wait a minute, didn't you see American History X?
I'll never think of Curbs the same way. All right, guys, let's wrap this one up. Quick reminder, the Patreon stuff, it's patreon.com/aroundcomics. You get all sorts of extra content like the ACTV, where Sal and I will be talking about WandaVision every week here for the next 7 weeks. And then you can maybe help us pick out another TV show, even though we hold the right to veto, I think is what Sal said. Tom's going to be cooking up some Tom verses for us at some point. I'll be doing some more creator interviews, and Sal has Days of Future Stacks.
I got some Nazi comics I'm thinking about.
Nazi comics, yes. Reviews of Nazi comics that's the third tier of the Patreon level.
Tom's like, wait a second.
What are some of the rewards?
we got all that stuff cooking, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got to plug.
I hope I didn't get us banned off of YouTube with that.
Yeah, just don't play a Misfit song.
Just joking, kids.
Email us, please. We love listener emails at info@aroundcomics.com. Always feel free to check in on the live feed and send us a question or a comment. We dig those. Check us out on the Twitters and the Facebooks and all that stuff. I'll work on the Twitter or the TikTok videos at some point.
How about some Twitch?
Some
or
Twitch?
I don't know. I don't know.
Periscope.
I'll be on Parlor. I'll be
Oh, God.
sorry. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Look forward to tomorrow. All right. So
I'm just trying to be controversial, you know.
The only place you can, where real free speech is
I'm going to stand up in front of cameras that are going to broadcast to the entire United States and wear a face mask that says "fucking censored" on it. Because I'm a cop.
I'm gonna live stream myself committing a crime.
It's totally secure. It's totally Parlor.
Totally secure. All
I promise.
yes, it's fine. Yeah.
All right. So you got all that stuff to look forward to, and of course, our Tuesday episodes are always and will always be free. So we'll be back next Tuesday to talk about more of the comics that Sal brings up on Future Stacks and other stuff. In the meantime,
in between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and around comics.
Joe right. It's not right. It's gonna happen.
Comics.
Yeah.
Comics.